Febrile seizures are seizures or convulsions that occur in young children and are triggered by fever. Young children between the ages of about 6 months and 5 years old are the most likely to experience febrile seizures. This risk peaks during the second year of life. The fever may accompany common childhood illnesses such as a cold, a flu, or an ear infection. In some cases, a child may not have a fever at the time of the seizure, but will develop one a few hours later, according to the National Institute of Neurological Disorder and Stroke. SIDS, according to the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, is the sudden, unexplained death of a baby younger than 1 year of age that doesn't have a known cause even after a complete investigation. This investigation includes performing a complete autopsy, examining the death scene, and reviewing the clinical history. According to the SUDC Foundation, sudden unexplained death in children is a category of death in children between the ages of 1 and 18 that remains unexplained after a thorough investigation, including an autopsy. Most often, a seemingly healthy child goes to sleep and never wakes up. At this time, there's no knowledge of what causes SUDC, how to predict it, or how to prevent it. A medical examiner or coroner could rule a child's death SUDC when she or he completes a thorough evaluation and finds no other cause of death. As a parent, when you first experience your child having a seizure, it is the scariest moment of your life. I know because my own daughter has them. Before having talks about them with our pediatrician, I thought these seizures were extremely rare. But I learned after doing my own on the surface research initially that this response isn't as foreign as I originally thought. So let's dig deeper. Who does febrile seizures affect? Febrile seizures affect children between the ages of 6 months and 5 years old. SIDS, babies under 1 year of age. Typically, SUDC, children that are older than 1 year of age. According to data in Cook County, there were 78 unexplained deaths in babies less than 6 months of age in Cook County in 2017 and 2018. Using data from the Illinois Violent Death Reporting System, they identified all cases of infants less than 6 months of age who died in Cook County due to non-natural causes in 2017 and 2018. These deaths occurred throughout Cook County, but were most concentrated on the south side of Chicago. So, that all leads us to the question, are febrile seizures associated with increased risk of sudden deaths in young children? And could febrile seizures contribute to some deaths? According to JAMA Network, they did a study, and some of the findings in that study indicates, in this particular case within this study, a series of 391 children were involved. Febrile seizure rates were increased among both sudden explained and sudden unexplained deaths compared with the general population, suggesting that seizures contributed to some of these deaths. No sudden deaths occurred in more than 3,100 life years among siblings of children with sudden unexplained deaths, meaning patients with febrile seizures are at increased risk for sudden death, but the risk is small. identifying clinical features or biomarkers of high risk and is essential to develop and assess preventative strategies. So, just to dig a little bit more into that research study, a total of 391 families with children that died aged 1 to 6 years completed a comprehensive interview on medical and social histories. In circumstances of death with forensic evaluations revealing a cause of death as sudden explained death in childhood or cause of death SUDC, which we defined earlier as sudden unexplained death in childhood. The median age for SUDC was 20 months. Most were male, white, and born full term. The child's development was described as normal in 201 cases. Vaccinations were up to date in 214 cases, with 130 of 150 receiving their last vaccination more than 2 weeks before death. Family medical history identified febrile seizures in 87 of 241 cases. Afebrile, non-fever seizures in 73 of 243 cases. Temporary loss of consciousness in 40 of 231 cases, and sudden unexplained deaths, including SIDS, in 10 of 240 cases. 41 of 241 cases reported both a case and family history of febrile seizures, and half reported a case and or family history of febrile seizures. Of the 76 SUDC cases with febrile seizure, being 62 had simple febrile seizures. 6 had complex febrile seizures, and 8 had both. 6 of 59 had a witnessed seizure within 48 hours of death, and another 4 witnessed one between 48 hours and a month of death. 7 SUDC cases reported afebrile, non-fever seizures, one of whom had a history of simple febrile seizures. The median age of the first febrile seizure was 15 months, and first afebrile, non-fever seizure was 12 months. Nearly all children with SUDC were found unresponsive during the sleep period. 173 of 211 cases were discovered prone, and 122 of 192 cases were found face down. Most slept in a crib. In 16 of 210 cases, the child shared a sleep surface. 16 of 210 cases, the child shared a sleep surface. In 112 of 245 cases, a terminal fever was reported. Study findings: among 391 consecutive collected interviews of family members of children aged 1 to 6 years at SUDC, they found elevated rates of febrile seizures among both SEDC and SUDC compared with population norms, which is usually around 2 to 5%. There are other studies out there that I am digging into to find more correlations. I am going to keep asking questions and try to bring more awareness to the Black community, especially in areas where these deaths are high in numbers. Most of these deaths are being related to poor sleeping habits, but I have a hard time believing that for all of them, that's the case. So I thought that this research was important to review, along with the other studies out there. There are studies out there that completely debunk the idea that febrile seizures and SIDS, if you will, depending on the age, or SUDC, as we have learned, plays a role in these deaths. But I believe the more we learn, the more we know, the more that we can apply the knowledge to our own circumstances. So my advice for parents in bringing this information to the forefront is have and know your family history pertaining to febrile seizures. Also, raise your awareness of safe sleeping habits as well. And I think with those two in these particular cases, when you talk to your pediatrician or you all have those conversations, when you experience something unusual with your child, that your pediatrician can give you the best advice for your family and for your situation. With that being said, there will be a follow-up article that will be published in the annual issue of my magazine, which is due to be released this spring.